Good morning. Wow, we're to the middle of the week. Happy hump day. Some of you might know what that means, but we're in the middle of the week already. How time is flying. It always seems like holidays lead to a very small week. That there's only a few days and the weekend gets here again. It's a great thing, but also we know that that's just a perception on our minds. Well, today I want to talk with you about the myth. The last couple of days we've talked about, this aspect of learning that helps us move forward. We're having some great conversation here. And you want to, wow, I'm saying good morning to myself. Oh, that's cool. Somehow that happens. Wow, this technology is great. But I was just on a conference called WBECS, which is the World Business and Executive Coaching Summit. Puts on some pre-summit courses, and then they go to a full summit. But today was about the myths, the magic, and more. But one of the myths that we have and this is not the main myth that I want to talk about with you today, but one of the myths we have is this addiction to being right. We need to be right all the time, and we will go through all kinds of struggle just to prove we are right. Sometimes we don't go and release and say, maybe you have a better answer, maybe you have a better thought. And as a result, we build a barrier, we build this, civil war. We create this distinction and say, here's my position. And we can see that sometimes in our government, right? And how we look at our government, how they act. And there's this, I'm right, this is what the people have told me. But then there's other times where, we're doing within our own family. I'm right. Well, it's a matter of perspective. And that addiction to being right precludes us, stops us from being extra special. Being able to make the invisible visible. Make the invisible visible. When we read another person, Chinese research has just come forward. Judith Glaser points this out in the call I just had. And she says, in 0.02 seconds, we make a determination about that other person. We smell their DNA. And this is where, in that short amount of time, a tall man will get attracted to a small woman in stature, in height, because there's an inherent nature within us that says our framework, our bodies, our DNA, our skeletal system, there's an average height, or there's a perception of what works well, what doesn't work well. So in our structure, to be 8 foot tall would be beyond the means of our framework, and we would have to evolve to that. And we're not at that point where we can evolve, so to at will change heights and build tall people strictly. And so nature is pruning and making sure. It's just like our brains. Our brains prune from time to time and take in new information. We're able to much more effectively live longer because we are stimulating our brains. We're trying new activities. We're learning a new language. And that's why when we're looking at Alzheimer's research, you may be seeing, things in the newspaper or online or wherever, conversations in magazines of the fact that if we retrain our brain, there's been inroads where people have lessened the symptoms because they're clearing their minds from what it is they're talking to themselves. They're changing their instructions to themselves. And as a result, they're able to function more effectively by doing crosswords and, doing new languages and trying a new activity for the first time and learning. And more people, we're not really seeing, we see a lot of people that are reported as being the oldest person in the world at about 115 years old. But there have been cases of people living to 135, 140, 149 years old. I don't know what I would look like at 149. I think I'd probably look really sharp, because I'm looking good. Wouldn't you? I think I'm beautiful. I recognize that from the inside. And when you're feeling from the inside, you feel and you project it outside. I hope that makes sense. I hope you're understanding a little bit more about, the power of this, the power of thinking, the power of being at the apex of really growing to be a taller person inside, to be more confident, to be a person that connects easily with others and be able to get past the perceptions, really want to learn about that other person. I think you do. From the people that I've met that are on this call, I know you are. It brings to mind, as I was thinking about this brain, and what, the conversation was about where we transact our thoughts and where are the best conversations. And when we get to we, when we think about each other and work to connect, so if we're connecting, much like this pen, right? This pen has a cover to the main element, but it needs to connect to keep it protected or keep it connected to, make sure the ink doesn't run all over. It has a purpose. When we connect, we stimulate the brain. This pen doesn't do much. It doesn't feel anything, but we do. When we connect with another person, the front part of our brain gets more activated. The oxytocin and other chemicals get stimulated, or they get, what's the term? Upregulated. We control them. Our bodies take over and say, this is a good situation. I like this. I want to be more. I want, this is really feeling good. And so it keeps pumping that in, and we feel really connected with that person because we're interested in that person. When we build the barriers, we go into the back of our brains, and then all the negative chemicals, the things that cause us pain and agony, stimulate. So they get upregulated, and our front chemicals get downregulated, and as a result, we shift from this happiness to sadness or grief or despair, and then we put barriers up. We fear people. We are depressed. I've been rereading and looking to teach this soon, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And this is a special copy because it's got page numbers in there. I don't know if I can get that shown too well, but there's page numbers. So each of the lines is especially doctored up for sharing, for conversation, to be able to point to a line and point to a line number versus the text. But this is based on the original text. There's many versions out there. But in this original text, in the chapter on the brain, chapter 13, it speaks to what happens. So when we put motion into a thought, the thought gets stronger. It gets more powerful. It starts reaching out to others because it needs to express itself. And as a result, it's attracting other people to hear that thought, to come together. So when we talk about vision, we are building up a thought. We are building up a thought to a higher rate. We're stimulating the, what's called vibration. It's stimulating the instances. It's stimulating the persistence to be expressed outward and for others to hear it. And it's not only, it's going through our body. It's not only what we say, it's how we come across. It's how we connect. It's, if you talk to someone that has a great vision, you feel it from them. You feel it oozing out of them. You feel that coming across and attracting you and saying, this is something of merit. come listen. And we have that in many organizations. Or, when Steve Jobs talked, people listened. People drew near. Bill Gates, Richard Branson. People draw near because they want to hear the thoughts. They feel there's something there that they should listen to. Napoleon writes, vibrations of an exceedingly high rate are the only vibrations picked up and carried by the ether, by that which connects us, the channels. There's an imperceivable and invisible channel that when two people connect is developed, a bridge is connected, is developed. And as a result, those thoughts flow and you can feel them coming in and your mind accepts them. So there's this two-way, it's like a radio station. And as a result, there's a point of sending and there's a point of receiving. And it keeps on going. If you think about a radio signal, it's not only when you turn on the radio or turn on, Sirius or XM, it's not when you press that button that it turns on. It's like the light bulb controversy in your refrigerator. Is it on when the door is closed? Well, there's electricity running to the refrigerator. There's electricity running up to that bulb, but the switch is turned off, and so the bulb doesn't illuminate, but there is electricity running. So in essence, the light bulb is functioning. It's just functioning in an off position. It's not illuminating, but it's still running. It's still there, waiting to be flipped, and that's the same way with us. We're waiting. We're that light bulb that's waiting for the switch to turn. And when we hear that thought, we turn on. So the thoughts, we're spewing 60,000 thoughts a day. Many of them are from the past, and we're rethinking. But there is the moment where the thought we have vibrated so vigorously can't be withheld. It needs to be told to another person. That person's going to help you, if they're so attracted, to be able to go and talk about it and be attracted to it and want to help you accomplish it. That's why it's so important, relationships. When we hide behind the phone, our brains are trying to connect with the phone. They're not trying to connect with the person on the other side. Though we type text and, we put emoticons and emoji and bitmoji, put yourself in the picture. I got a really cute one. Yeah. But the funny thing about that is you can change what you look like, right? Very easily. But it's not like talking between you and me, or me and you. There's not a conversation. There's a moment of pause. There's a moment of this transaction of electrons having to go through the internet to where you are to find out what that is. There's a receiver down there and it comes down to your phone because you programmed it to send it down to your phone. But the conversation doesn't exist. The conversation is just a random noise. When we sit in front of people, though they may talk and talk, I've been accused of that, or suggested that I speak a lot. I just want to engage, and that's big for me, And I tend to have. It was written on my report card. Joe is a shy person. He only talks when talked to. I wonder where I got that from. Does that sound familiar? Were you born at 32866 Half Court, Warren, Michigan? No? Sounds familiar enough, right? So Napoleon goes on to say, thought is energy traveling at an exceeding high rate of vibration. Thought which has been modified or stepped by by any of the major emotions vibrates at a higher rate than ordinary thought. It's this type of thought which passes from one brain to another through the broadcasting machinery of the human brain. So talking about brain, could give you a headache. You might need, an aspirin or something, but we are starting to realize more and more each day as technology is able to uncover what's happening, why people can sense other things. They can sense something about you, there's something about that person as I look at them that I want to get to know. There's a reason. Or I am transmitting something of a vision or a thought, and it's connecting with that person. Maybe we should go, and there might be some distance. And you are then drawn to go and find out about that person and why they were so intrigued. What resonated with them. Few words can change your perspective. A few words that helps to make the invisible, the pain, the suffering, the things inside change to be visible, is when somebody else can come to you or you go to them and ask, what can I do to help you? What can I do to help you immediately changes their perspective. If the brain, if it's receiving, says, wow, somebody cares. And as a result, it upregulates the cortisol and downregulates the pain, the agony, the things, and I might have these all messed up, these chemicals all messed up. Whatever. The front part of your brain feels better. Your brain feels better. As a result, it communicates to your body to feel better, to relax, de-stress. We can put all the chemical names we want out there. It really doesn't matter. Except for a deeper discussion, it matters. What's affecting what? If you control, when you control that particular element, you can get this kind of reaction. So if we can pause and say, okay, every 6 to 12 seconds, we are in the moment. We are present. We are dealing and recognizing and experiencing. And then after that period, we go out of the moment. And then we're, kind of just floating around, and, we might have other thoughts, and we aren't where, this is how you can go down the road and not recognize what you've been by, because, you're in the moment of driving, but you're no longer in the moment of looking around. And you can change, you can hold this. If you control yourself, you learn to control. If you learn to control when you are in the moment and extend that, the rewards are greater. But you need to be in and out. There's a cycle to things. There's a balance. The body craves balance. The body craves connection. So the myth is that we don't need relationships, or, that it is what it is. There's a conversation. I ask, you respond. You ask, I respond. And that's transactional. You got a pen? Yeah, I got a pen. Okay. Level 1 conversation. It happened, but it's not very effective. And doesn't reward, doesn't get into a deeper thing unless you go to, that higher level questions. And then we get to, the top end, which is transformational part of our brain, where we're actually looking to share and discover together. So there'll be more, just some things that I need to go back and think about or research, get some other perspectives from people. But we got a call. I'm going to be on a call with Lisa Dutkiewicz and Alvaro. You may have watched Lisa's Facebook Live a couple of weeks ago, where Alvaro, who's a violinist, I almost got his instrument wrong, violinist, we're on and talking about, the pleasure of music and how we can learn from those vibrations. So join me tonight. It's 8 p.m. Eastern. There'll be a link on our pages to jump on the call, where that's going to be at. But I'm a coach, and I help people connect more effectively. Now, it may not be seeming like from afar that I connect, but I do, and I'm really good at helping people become aware of what is blocking that connection, of being able to then assess it, determine a plan, and build a path forward, and with a goal of reaching some point in your legacy that you want to reach, that it means something to you. And sometimes that's locked in. And in like step, we take that into the workplace, and in the workplace we're doing the same thing. So if we don't get one conversation right, odds are we are taking it into the workplace and having that same learning struggle. So if we don't learn it one time and then use that to move forward, to leverage our achievements, to leverage the lessons out of our achievements, that's more important. Learn the lessons out of achievements, out of our failures, out of our struggles. We are not able to then apply them going forward. And as a result, we are dysfunctional when we go into the workplace. Or others are dysfunctional because each of us, again, we're each have a probability 1 in 400 million of being where we are, with what we are, with who helped us be raised and instructed us, with the DNA, with the experiences then that were as a result of where we started and what we've done with ourselves and grown with ourselves. So I help bring people and teams together to evolve them, to grow, to reach that next level, to evolve to something higher. I am a thought partner, and I am not only just thought, but helping you turn it into action. And I want to thank, I promised, I said I would do this because it's important to me, and it's important for somebody to know that I appreciate them, and I'm willing to do it across the world. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you for bringing and sharing breakfast with me today. It was grand. It was fantastic. And the opportunity to share an experience. We'll have better experiences today because now the call's out of the way, the Facebook Live's out of the way, and we can get ready for the next Facebook Live for that conversation. I look forward to working with you and with Alvaro, and for your information, if you want to join on this conversation on Think and Grow Rich, and it's not about, the focus is richness, but it's not only richness financially, it's health, it's wellness, it's, plotting what we desire and accomplishing it. So if we just desire it and we don't persist in it, and we don't do the right combination of elements, it dies, it withers. If we don't take something of meaningless and change it into something of value, it dies. So many conversations, including, like I talked about yesterday, if Ben & Jerry's did not come up with a transformation of ice cream, we wouldn't have Ben & Jerry's. We might have something else. But Ben & Jerry's transformed a okay product, a good product, into something better. We do that every day. We take a product and make it better if we desire to do it, if we put our attention to it, if we go to share and discover it, if we take the pods of information that are around us and see if there's a connection, if there's somebody else thinking the same thing in the world, and we can come together and connect and make it more effective and not build it in isolation. Here's the important part. This is why we are at Apex Thinking. We go up higher. We think farther because we need to be able to connect. We need to build relationships. We need to then take those relationships and aim for a goal, for a worthy goal, for a goal that is transforming, is creative, using our imagination, our combined imagination to create something of value, to create something of joy. This is a good day. Let us rejoice. This is a good day to change your mind in 0.02 seconds about somebody that you've met. Once you've built a perception about that person and are using that perception, as I talked about yesterday, we put that up and then we're always using that. But in 0.02 seconds, we can change, when we see that person, we can change our perspective and say, "Hi, I'm glad you came. I wanted to talk with you." We can change from, "I don't like that person. I don't want to work with that person." I was just watching the reruns of Food Network, and they're getting into the final rounds, and the other chefs are all disgruntled about this one person who keeps getting through. Everyone that she's partnered with, though her food is good, and she just bombs on the presentations, and she sabotages the other people in her group as a result, they get disqualified, and she goes on, and this group is getting disgruntled about, why does she keep getting accepted? And she comes back and says, well, they just realize that I'm now competition. I'm going to proceed further. if I tap into this. So you're going to tap into this negative. If you tap into the negative, what do you end up with? Negative. If you tap into the positive of fulfilling oneself, things come out much better. As a result, in the final moments here, what have you spoken? What were the words you used? What were the thoughts that were then leveraged into the words? Or what thoughts were put up in the mask on your face or body stance, body language to convey to another person about their value? We don't get it all right. Every day we have so many things and we're not focused. And you watch Lisa's Facebook Live today is talking about just that, our focus, where we are not, she gives you some really great things about how to be more effective. Eric Reed's focus as well on on Napoleon Hill. He's been having a class on that, and they got into talking about sex transmutation. So transmuting thought into form, taking the opportunity of creation from thought to object, to something of value. Thoughts on their own are not valuable. Thoughts, when added with action, become valuable because they have to be thought through and they end up being something. You can have a million thoughts. You could say, I like the color red, or I like the sky gray. Great, that's fantastic, but it's not it's not a thought that's actionable, other than the fact that you're stating a fact. So let's think about this. Let's think about and go on in the next couple days here. We're going to have some more pearls about the myth. The myth, finally, is that we are where we are because we are the victim. We choose to be where we are. But we don't choose the way forward like we should. We don't choose the relationships that we need to build. We don't value people evenly and equally. And regardless of what they are, who they are, what we would perceive as barriers, if we take those away and say, I value you because I want to get to know you, I want to value you because you are important. Connect together today and avoid the words that harm. Stop putting up barriers. And I know you what you need, because you've already told me what you need. So let's get together. Let's talk. Let's just talk. Let's chat. Leave a comment. Give me your feedback. We can't raise our conversation. We can't get to the share and discover to a higher plane together if we don't interact. Hi, my name is Dutkiewicz. I'm your friend. And I'm here to help you think at the apex. Bye for now. Take care and enjoy the